Good evening and welcome to Craig Talks Security. This is the first video for Motivational Mondays. Motivational Mondays is a little tuition session. Every week we're going to bring a different subject and we're going to give you a little tuition video on how to do it. Not only are we going to do that, but anybody who subscribes, and you'll see the button underneath this video, we're going to give you free screen and vetting documents. That's basically a personnel file which will allow you to do all the screening of any security staff yourself free of charge. So without further ado, let's get started. So why do we screen employees? In most cases, it's nice and simple. We screen the employees because it's a condition of the insurance. A lot of you guys, if you check with your individual insurance companies, they will say in the small print that you guys have to be screened and vetted to 7858. Unfortunately, they don't disclose that information or make it public knowledge until it's too late as a rule. As I said, it is in the small print, but a lot of people don't read small print. It's going to protect you from taking on the wrong employees, which in turn is going to protect your business. It's very easy to take somebody on because they've done really well in an interview, they came across really well, they give the right answers at the right time in the right way. Does that mean they're going to be a good member of staff? Not always. You tend to find out what the member of staff's going to really be like after month 3, which is why they have the probationary period, and also why the screening standard it gives you the same period of 12 weeks to complete. It gives your customers peace of mind. Your customers, obviously, they're going to feel a lot better if they know that you're doing the required checks to the required level. It's things like checking work history, it's things like checking character references, credit check, badge check. It's risk mitigation. You're having a look at the individual and you're looking at how safe are they for you to take on in your business. In a lot of cases, the screen and vetting is legal compliance as well, which means we don't have a choice, we have to do it. So it's things like the right to work checks, which are a part of the screening because you're going to check the ID at the start of the screening process, which we'll go into in a little bit more detail further on in this video. It reassures your employees or future employees that they're working for a proper company. By proper company, what do we mean? We mean that you're going to be there next week. You're not going to invest the time and money in doing the screening and vetting if you're not going to be there in 12 months time, 18 months time. It shows that you've got long-term commitment to what you're doing. A lot of companies end up in tribunals, employment tribunals. As a rule, it tends to be because they've had a lack of evidence or they haven't disclosed required information or given documentation to the employee. If you screen and vet into the required standard of 7858, then you'll automatically be doing the checks you need to do and have the documents in place to act as evidence if you go to tribunal. So one, it reduces the amount of tribunal cases, but not only that, it gives you a better chance as well because you can evidence that what you've done is right and is to the standard. A lot of accreditations lead you to do screening and vetting to meet the standard. An example of this is ISO 9001, OHSAS 18001, and the ACS scheme. All of those will require you to screen and vet your staff to 7858 in order to meet the criteria. And not only this, every tender I think that I've ever completed will ask for 7858. It's so that they know that you're doing the right checks, they know that you're mitigating the risk, they know that you're running your business to the right standard. So what should you do before you deploy your new employee? Nice and simple. I know a lot of you are thinking, and I'm sure I heard somebody then say, well, I'll ring them up because I've been let down off 12 lads and somebody give me his number. Well, that is the case sometimes, unfortunately, but shouldn't be the case. So before you actually deploy the guys, before you can put them on the ground, what you've got to do a certain amount of checks. What it does, it gives you peace of mind and it meets the standard. So the things that you have to do, and a lot of it's about orally checking what you're later going to confirm in writing. So things like 5-year work history. Now, 5-year work history, as a rule, a lot of companies will collect references and sometimes statutory declarations, which we're going to later on in this video, to basically make sure that there's no problem in the employee's work history. Now, I personally believe that it's much easier to go get the members of staff to go to HMRC and request a brief copy of the tax record. Now, they can do that all over the phone. It's a nice, easy process. It takes 10 minutes and it doesn't actually cost anything. What that does is that'll give you a 10-year breakdown of what contributions have been made. So it doesn't just cover employment. It'll also cover things like sickness benefit, unemployment benefit, carers allowance. So what it does is it gives you a much better picture of where the person's been. Plus, it's a lot more admin friendly. The time implication of obtaining references for 5 years for every member of staff is quite large, to be honest with you, especially if you're a big company. So the tax record's a good way to handle the issue. At interview point, you should also confirm the ID documentation. Now, what we always recommend is that they should bring with them the original documents. You can then take a copy of the documents and add that to the personnel file. What it shows is that you've not just got a photocopy of the individual, you've actually seen the live document, the live ID document, which gives you a much better ID verification. Then all you need to do is photocopy the ID documents and write on them original scene, copy taken, date and sign them. This gives you a fantastic audit trail and a good source of evidence to prove that you have conducted it as per the standard, because it'll show the date of the actual employment starting, the screening and vetting starting, and obviously when the probationary period ends and the screening period ends. You also need to obtain a character reference. It's one as a rule. This is increased to 2 personal references if there is a gap in the employment history. Basically, with the employment history, you need to get it with no gaps. Now, if there's a gap of 1 day to 31 days, you can use a second personal reference to cover this, as long as it covers the period. Again, these are done initially via a phone call, what we call oral verification, and then you'd request it in writing. With that, there's a lot of programs and websites on the internet that can change your forms to e-forms. This tends to be a much quicker way of doing the screening, to be honest with you, especially for getting the initial information in, i.e. references. So it's a good way of looking at it. There's a number of websites which we're going to post probably next week on the Monday's slot. And of course, there's a license check to do to make sure that the SIA license is valid. It's not enough to see the license. We need to check that it hasn't been revoked. The SIA are recommending, I believe now, that we do this weekly. It used to be monthly. However, weekly, you're making sure that you're not going to get caught out. You also need to do a credit check. Basically, the way the standard works, there's a requirement for a credit check. They've also got to meet a certain criteria where if they've got too much adverse credit, CCJs, things like that, the director would sign them off because they're classed as a risk, because apparently they're believed to take bribes or steal more, which I disagree with, to be honest with you, but I didn't write the standard and these are the rules we have to adhere to. What else should you do with your new staff? Well, there's a number of things. The first one is make sure that they have the required documentation. For example, job descriptions, contracts of employment, induction paperwork. Obviously, if you've got self-employed staff, they'd have a self-employed contract. Subcontractor would have a subcontractor contract. Whatever it is, but you need to make sure that people have the right documentation in place. Now, with that, as I did say, if you subscribe to this video, then we're going to give you every document that you need to complete the screening and vetting. So we're going to supply you with everything. It is a package we normally charge for. We're doing it free. All you've got to do is hit subscribe and send us an email with your contact details so that we know who to send it out to. We are also providing free support, where we'll give you email support with your screening for a period of 28 days. Again, this is going to be a free service, guys, that we're chucking, guys and girls, that we're chucking at you. Basically, hit subscribe, send the email, and you'll get all your documents for free, so that's something you don't have to worry about. Now, things like company handbooks, again, that's something that we're including in the pack. It'll have things in it like your policies, and also your standards, what you expect. It's a snapshot of your company, so that the guys and the girls that are starting with you know exactly what you expect, what you're about, what your ethos is. As with any document that you send to your staff that they're going to retain, make sure that they sign to say that they've read and understood it, or get a verbal agreement if you want to record it during appraisal, or however you decide to do it. Just make sure that you've got some form of evidence there. Why? Again, it's going to protect you from tribunals. It's important to test the knowledge of the people that you're taking on. So the way that we do this is usually with a competency assessment. Now that can be done in a number of ways. Some people, like the old-fashioned, will give you a short exam, mark it, and see how you've done. We will supply you with a competency assessment, which will cover the sectors in security with the pack that we're giving you. The reason that we do these competency assessments, one, it lets us know where the guys are up to. We know what contracts they're going to fit onto better, which contracts we should maybe avoid with them while they're in the induction period. And it also allows you to build a training program for the individual and make it a lot more specific. So it's not just about this is what your company does, this is your company induction, these are your policies. I mean, that's a vital point of the induction, but it's also about looking at how that individual needs to develop. If there's any areas you can help him with, maybe it's going to be something as easy as a first aid training course, but it's going to benefit you and the employee. If you understand the difficulties that your new employees could face, this will help you massively in staff retention. Basically, you know what's going to put them off. You know when they start the job what's going to make them think, is this right for me? The best way of doing that is speak to the guys that have been with you for a while, speak to the guys that have just started and stuck it out, and find out what they like, what they didn't like. The happier you can make your staff, the better they're going to work for you. As I'm sure you'll all have worked for somebody who was pleasant to work for and somebody who wasn't. I'm sure that you're a lot more productive for the guy that you're happy to work for, or girl that you're happy to work for. So a screening checklist. But this is a snapshot of everything that we need to do. So start to finish, we've got to do the 5-year history. So that's 5-year employment history or 5-year background history, shall we say. Again, as I said, have a look at getting the guys and girls to get the tax records, because it does make it a lot easier. It'll save you possibly around 70-80% on this part of the screening in admin time. Personal references, these need to be confirmed within 12 weeks. As I said, with the references on both the professional and the personal, it's a case of orally verifying them before you deploy the man, and then when the guys are deployed, you've got 12 weeks that can be extended to 16 with the discretion of the MD to complete the checks and get your written verification. Correct ID documents, if anybody's unsure, we do have a list of these. If you want to contact us, we can send that out to you. As I said, if you look at the SIA model for ID requirements, as a rule, it'll cover it. You would need to complete a credit check. This would need to be put in the file. You would need to get authorization to do this. If you're going to be getting one of our packs, then it is actually on the application form. So once the members of staff fill it out, they've already given you authority, or not given you authority, you'd need to look at it to complete the checks. Check the SIA licenses, which we're going to be doing weekly, to make sure that we don't get caught out and they've not been revoked. You need to conduct a competency assessment or skills needs analysis, produce the necessary induction training and induction or training program for the individual. This should be monitored and reviewed. I always recommend to review the training every 6 months, but some people prefer to pick annually. You need to ensure that you get all the required documents signed. This isn't just for screening, but also legal compliance, as I said, with employment law. So things like contracts, job descriptions, codes of conduct, all those things we should have in place. We should have them signed, and 12 weeks is ample for the guys and girls to read through them and get those back to you. Also, any uniforms that have been issued would also be documented and logged. This allows you to track your resources. At the end of the day, you've paid for the uniforms. You don't want to be reissuing them every week because they're not being looked after. So it's a good way of managing your resources. I always recommend to people after 8 weeks to do a mystery shop, or what we call a third penetration visit. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that you send somebody in covert, dressed in fancy dress or whatever it is. This could be as simple as you sitting outside the venue or site watching the member of staff working when they don't know that you're there. This gives you a good insight as to how the guys are working. It tends to be after 8 weeks, 8 to 9 weeks, they'll start relaxing within the position, and obviously they become complacent. So guys, thank you very much for watching the video. As I said, we are actually providing a free screening and vetting pack which is worth over £100 with to any security company, or company in fact in the UK. Nice and easy. All you need to do is hit subscribe and send us an email to craigtalksecurity@coreconsultancy.co.uk, and we will have your screening pack with you within 24 hours. Now, as you can see, there's a number of documents in there. You've got the reference letters for your personal and professional references, a screening and vetting checklist, an opt-out of the working time directive, application form, interview assessment, interview notes, equal opportunity screening form, 5-year basic information, which will help you do the 5-year work history check, job offer, so that you've got something to send out to the guys when they've completed the interview, competency assessment, induction training, training record, employment contract, a number of job descriptions, codes of conduct, staff appraisal, employee feedback, and last, a completion cert. As I said, we're also doing 28 days free support with the screening. That'll give you ample time to get your head around the documents and do any changes that you need. As I said, the system that we're providing you is completely free of charge. All you've got to do is hit subscribe. With that said, the documents, I would have a look at them, change them, put your branding on them, make them more personal to your company. The more you change a system of documents, the better they're going to be, because nobody knows your business like you do. If anybody needs any more information, please feel free to contact me, as I said, at craigtalksecurity@coreconsultancy.co.uk. Thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to tune in on Wednesday for Whinging Wednesday. This is where we're going to talk about what in the industry winds us up, what makes us angry, what makes us go home and kick the bin. Whatever it is, we're going to have a chat about it and see what we can fix together. We're going to come up with more solutions than on our own, I can assure you. We're also on Friday, we've got Feel Good Friday. Feel Good Friday is basically anything that's funny, any stories, any videos that's happened while you've been working, or to one of the lads or ladies, let us know. We are actually running a competition where the best video from each category will win £2,000 worth of free prizes as well from Core Consultancy. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.